Hi, and welcome to the Growth Advantage podcast. Today I'll be speaking to Matt Hilliker, founder and director of Achieve More Training Limited, experts in education, sport, leisure and fitness work-based learning. It's great to have you here today, Matt. How are you?
Thanks, Rebecca. No, it's great to finally catch up, and so I'm looking forward to today.
Brilliant, great. I'd love to get started, if it's okay, by asking you to tell me a bit more about the business and your role within it.
Yeah, certainly. So Achieve More Training is work-based learning specialists, and we specialise in the sport, leisure and education sectors. And we set up in 2019, so just before COVID, about 5-6 years ago now. My role within it as the founder and the main director is business development. So I look at the strategic partnerships, overseeing the growth and new products and services that we deliver. And my business partner Joe is kind of more looking at the operational side of the business as we've grown from a staffing team of 2 to 40 over the last 5 years.
Amazing. Great stuff. Could you share your insights on any current market trends and emerging technologies that are in the training sector at the moment? Have you noticed any recent shifts or developments in these areas?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Since we started 5-6 years ago, I think there's a couple of different angles, really. I think with AI coming in, I think access to knowledge in terms of training courses and qualifications, just education in general in the future, I think more people are going to be able to access knowledge at their fingertips, which is great. So I think, and which lucky for us really, our niche is work-based learning and how helping people to apply that knowledge in different roles. So I think the education system in a whole is got to change from just accessing and proving that you've got some knowledge to be able to access and prove that you can apply that knowledge in different roles. So I think we're well based in that niche really to help people in the education, sport and leisure sectors to gain some new knowledge, but then also apply it in a different roles, and then obviously help keep on applying new knowledge and working practices as they progress their careers. So I think that we find ourselves in a really unique position that we started off on that journey 5-6 years ago, not knowing how quickly AI was going to come in and make that change in the education sector. And then secondly, the use of AI in terms of how we use it as a company as well. So in terms of our delivery, like tutors and assessors, and also our administrative functions behind the scenes as well, in terms of helping to use artificial intelligence to improve our processes and how we implement systems, but not to replace staff, just to make sure that they can use their time more effectively, supporting learners and supporting employers directly with our offer. So it's keeping an eye on it and making sure we implement things and move along with the times, but also just we've still got that human side of our business in terms of the relationships that we have with our learners and employers. And if we can maximise the time we have with those, then I think that'll be really good.
So it's all about striking that balance, I guess, between sort of using the tech and ensuring it complements what you're doing rather than replaces the human
100%,
element.
100%. Yeah, definitely. I think, we've managed to grow over the last few years because our two main services are apprenticeships in the education, sport and leisure sector. So we work with employers to help provide apprenticeships, but also we work with current staff or people that want to work in those sectors, provided fully funded qualifications and training so that they can do those roles and then progress their careers in it. So we founded on having relationships, and that's how we started. And we've managed to grow so quickly over the last 5 years because of those relationships we have with employers and learners that keep coming back to us because they've had a good experience and they keep improving. So we definitely don't want to go away from that. And if we can use the technology to improve the way that we communicate or market our offer so more people are aware of it, and also the experience the learners and the employers have on programme with us, then that's the main aim, really.
Brilliant. What would you say are the key challenges in your industry currently, and how are these impacting your business operations or strategy?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess my side with business development and strategic partnerships, marketing falls within that. I think it's great that people do find out more information online now. So going onto social media or doing some searches and going onto websites. On one hand, it's easier to access information, but on the other hand, there's a lot more noise. So there's a lot more information out there. So it can be quite easily, your message can get, but also if you get the right message out there, it's also available to every single person on the planet because everyone can access the internet and look online. So it's striking that balance of making sure that people understand our culture and why we do what we do, and kind of storytelling, providing good news stories about people that have been on journeys with us from employers or learners and the success that we've had, and kind of resonating with people in terms of accessing what we do, because everything that we do is fully funded in Wales. So in terms of education, sport and leisure sector, if you're working in those sectors or you want to work in those sectors, finding out what we do on our website or through our social media channels is great. But there's also lots of other companies across the UK trying to do the same thing as well. So it's just making sure, I guess, that they're the challenges, but also the opportunities at the same time.
Yeah, totally get that. And how are you finding attracting new clients right now? And has this changed much over the last year or so?
Yeah, I mean, when we started, it sounds like we started years ago. We had paper portfolios. We used to like drive around in our cars, to all the employees with our paper portfolios. We now have an e-portfolio, so everything gets uploaded online. And the change in technology in the last 5 to 6 years has been incredible, really, in terms of how we provide evidence for our learners to get the qualifications with the awarding bodies, but also how we engage with our learners. We still do face-to-face visits, but in between there, people can log on to online sessions. They can have video calls with their tutors. They can download podcasts of our sessions. So the change in technology the last 5 to 6 years has been massive in terms of our engagement and our user experience, but also you can't beat a face-to-face coffee, meeting someone face-to-face and going over whatever needs or support they might do. And I guess with work-based learning, one of the advantages is the range of assessment methods that we can use. So it's not just the same qualification with each person that we meet. Everyone has an individual learning plan. Learners get to have a lot more ownership over their qualifications, so they get to choose what units they do and how they are assessed. So we tend to do one unit at a time every 4 weeks. The learner gets to decide which units they're working on or different learning outcomes across the different units that'll link in with what they might be doing in their job over the next 4 weeks. And then, based off what they're doing, we'll link it in with the employers and agree what assessment methods we might use, from kind of a written task to a product evidence that they might be working on, or an observation of practice, or a witness testimony if their mentor's there and we're not there. So there's a lot of flexibility, and that means that we can really individualize the program for people. And I think that gives them more ownership of what they're doing and more enjoyment. I think one of the reasons why we set up to begin with was, it's not just a tick box exercise to do training. It's got to be something that you enjoy doing. It's got to help you out with what your outcome wants to be, whether that's getting qualified in a certain role, professionalising the sector in terms of sport coaches, teaching assistants, fitness instructors, personal trainers, but also making sure that their working practices are improved. So it's getting that knowledge and then it's applying that knowledge, getting some good feedback and having a really good experience on that journey too.
So it sounds like each individual student can have it moulded to their needs at that time. There's sort of not one set linear path that they can take, and that's obviously really, really appealing, I imagine, to the students that come on board.
Yeah, 100%. Myself and Joe, my business partner, sat down and reflected on our own journey from, going all the way to university to become sport coaches, and then we reflected on why we were still working in the sector, why so many other of our colleagues and friends ended up going on to graduate schemes and becoming estate agents and other sort of roles. And the main thing was that we'd been in university doing sport coaching, sport science degrees, but we'd actually applied our knowledge by working as sport coaches. So we actually met in a primary school in Liverpool, delivering sport coaching to primary school students. So we were applying that knowledge, and I think it was getting the knowledge and applying it. So we kind of did an official apprenticeship 20 years ago when we first met. And that's why we were still in the sector, because we had all these transferable skills. We built up a network. Yeah. And so when we were both working for different organisations 7-8 years ago, we felt like there was a really big need in primary schools, particularly though. You've got a lot of students going to university to do sports science degrees, and it was becoming more costly. When we went, there wasn't many fees, but now you come out with tens of thousands of fees. And there was also a skills gap in primary schools of teachers not being really confident and competent to deliver really good high level kind of physical activity experiences for young people. So we felt like, well, why are we sending all these young people to go and do sports science degrees on one hand, and then on the other hand, why have we got a skills gap in primary education degrees in providing good physical activity experiences? And because they only do 10 hours of sport in a 3-year degree for primary education, which is understandable in terms of the other areas are important, but one of our passions was making sure that every young person that goes to school has a good physical activity experience, because that'll determine the life choices they make for the rest of their life. So we started off with a sport coaching apprenticeship for schools. That went well, and then COVID hit. So we kind of developed that offer to be online, and then we kind of developed the offer further in terms of listening to our employers. There was a need for teaching assistant apprentices, and then fitness instructors apprentices as well in the leisure sector. And then we kind of further developed that offer so that we provided work-based learning qualifications for people after their apprenticeship. So once they gain positions to to then specialise at level 2, level 3, level 4. And we've worked with the awarding bodies and with Welsh Government to make sure that qualifications are fit for purpose. So there's a reason for doing them. They meet the national occupational standards for those roles. So we're really helping to professionalise what those roles are for teaching assistants and sport coaches.
Right. Yeah.
I remember when I worked in the local authority in Wales, you weren't allowed to go in as a sport coach to cover a teacher because you weren't qualified enough. It was seen as like not as an important role as a teacher, when I think the teachers are only spending 10 hours doing sport in their degree. So there was a need to professionalise the role, and we're working with SIMSPA. We've endorsed all of our programmes through the Chartered Institute for Sport Management for Physical Activity. And so there's a regulatory body looking at the roles in the sector. And to kind of loop back to the question, really, the whole point of all of it was for training not to be a tick box exercise, but it should be something that's purposeful, meaningful, individualised to people's roles. And at the end of it, those accredited qualifications mean something to employers, and then people can, without leaving the workplace, people can progress their career and earn a better living, look after their family. But all of our qualifications, kind of at the centre of them, are helping people, whether that's helping young people as a teaching assistant, or whether that's giving good physical activity experiences as a sport coach apprentice or fitness instructor, personal trainer. We really want to specialise over the next year or two at providing really level 4 and level 5 opportunities for people to specialise in those roles. So, people working as a personal trainer, doing cardiac rehab in a hospital is going to be at a different level than what it might be for people working one-to-one in the gym with somebody. So we want to make sure that the qualifications are fit for purpose and available for that. And as a whole, people outside of our sectors understand how important these roles are for everyone to lead happy and healthy lifestyles.
Fantastic. Sounds amazing. It really does. What does your competitive landscape look like right now?
Yeah, in Wales and across the UK. So we predominantly work across Wales, providing fully funded training and apprenticeship recruitment services for employers. We provide short courses for people that want to go into the sector, and we provide accredited work-based learning qualifications for people already working in the sector to progress their careers. It's quite niche in Wales because there's less people in Wales than there is in the UK. There's less training providers. It's predominantly colleges with a number of consortiums that are funded through Welsh Government. So we're well placed. We have in the consortium in North Wales, the Group Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgogerychwraig Menai consortium, and we're in the BWBL consortium in South West Wales. But we're also working with other training providers who would, you'd probably see them as our competitors, but we kind of work alongside to make sure that when someone applies for something with us, if they're in a different area to where we work or a different route that we do, then we kind of refer learners on to each other. So it's a lot more friendly, I guess, in Wales than it might be across the UK. I think across the UK, there's a lot more training providers doing what we do commercially, and I think that's a bit more competitive. But I think our niche in Wales at the moment is just providing that fully funded opportunity, and then working alongside our competitors to make sure that the right learners are getting the right support from the right provider.
Yeah, that sounds great. It makes sense, like, to have that collaboration there, I guess. And how about sales and marketing? Do you have your own team members, or do you outsource that side of things?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've done a variety of those, really. When we first started off 5-6 years ago, my own daughter started off as a social media apprentice with us. And so she did that role and started us off a really good footing, to be honest. And she's since finished that qualification. She was employed full time with us, and she's since moved on to work elsewhere. Now she works for Networld Sports, is another big company based in Wrexham, who are international now. So she started us off well. Since then, we've employ different people. We've trained up our own staff to be able to do different parts of sales and marketing, but we also outsource freelancers as well when we need that expert support. We've kind of settled on a balance between training up our own staff, so they've got some ownership over how we sell and how we market things, to make sure that we've got that our values and on our offer really accurate. But then we get freelance experts to come in terms of like how we then market that through what channels. And over the last 12 to 18 months, we've really got a good handle on our digital marketing strategy. We've employed a data manager. I think he's been instrumental at making us have our own internal system, so we can now have really good oversight as a management team in terms of where we put our funds and the return on investment of those funds. And the data is just unbelievable, really. We've implemented a few systems to make it easier for learners and employers that want to talk to us. So once people find out about the offer, we've got a really slick process in terms of booking a call with one of our recruitment officers who can provide the right information, advice and guidance. And the numbers have shot up 10 times in the last 12 months because of that. So I feel like we're a really good data-driven organisation now, and we can make good decisions based on the data in front of us, thanks to our data manager, rather than just putting our fingers in the air and seeing which way the wind's blowing.
Fantastic. What takes up most of your time day to day, and is there anything you'd like to change about that right now?
Luckily, I spend most of my time meeting people, talking about what we do, promoting what we do at seminars or meetings with employers. So I really enjoy what I do. I don't feel like it's more of a lifestyle choice than it is a job or a role for me.
Brilliant.
But then, keeping on top of all the communication to get via emails, managing my own time. We actually employed a PA in the last 9 months now. Again, she's been instrumental. I would just say yes to everything, and my diary would be back to back all day. And by the end of the day, I probably wasn't the best person to meet, but she manages our diaries and she manages the communication between our SLT, so things don't get lost. If someone contacts us, she highlights what needs to be reply to the same day or what needs to be booked in. So Vanessa's been a godsend since she's come on board and really helped our whole SLT communicate well, as well as making sure internally, any staff that need decisions or support are supported as soon as possible as well.
Brilliant. And regarding the growth of the business, what are your most important metrics right now to keep driving it forwards?
Yeah, I think three main databases that we use, or the metrics that we're looking at, is the number of learners that we have. So we obviously have contracts that we're fulfilling, so our profile each month in terms of the numbers of learners that are coming on. What we've really managed to do is dig down to that in terms of how many of our learners have progressions onto the next level or the next opportunity with us, or how many might return to us because they've had a good experience and they've managed, they've moved on to a new role and now they need some more training. So that's one thing we're looking at. We provide a free apprenticeship recruitment service for employers. So we have another kind of database that we're looking at in terms of managing all those vacancies. Going on our website now, we're recruiting for about 40 or 50 vacancies for September. And our systems mean that we can turn around recruitment in like 2 to 3 weeks. Schools have come on board the last 2 weeks of schools now every day with, can you get someone for September, but we want to meet them before we finish next Friday. So we've got a big database of people that have applied for vacancies, and we managed to kind of do a big jigsaw puzzle between putting the vacancies out for employers and matching them up with relevant candidates in that area that are suited for those roles, so we can shortlist really quickly. And then thirdly is our employers, so the employers that we do work with, and what they access in terms of our offer, whether that's the recruitment service or whether that's fully funded training for their current staff. So just making sure that we're servicing our learners, our employers, and also people that are looking to get into new positions as well. So they're the kind of three main things that we're looking at all the time.
Great. And looking to the future then, what are your business goals for the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I think what we've learned after, I think this could be applied into any business as well, is growing from a team of 2 or 3 people based out of a porter cabin in a football club in 2019 to now having 40 staff based across the country in numerous settings and working from home and things, is how we wanted to keep that culture. So, when we started off and it was a small handful of us doing the delivery and managing the relationships, it was easy to keep that culture and what was important for us. As we've grown quickly, we've had to bring staff in and train staff up. What's been really important to us is keeping that culture over the last 12 months. We really focused on that in terms of not just saying what our values are, but like what it feels like and what our behaviours are like in the team. We're looking at it from an external point of view. If somebody works with us, what it should feel like for them. We've really focused on that, and we've still got a journey to keep going as we grow to keep that culture the same. And I think that'll be the same in most businesses, really. So yeah, it's been really interesting to work and listen to the staff about how they feel and make sure we're changing our systems and our processes and ensuring that when a job was small and it was like multifaceted, now you've got teams looking after different bits of the journey. So making sure the information's shared between teams and we're supporting everyone to do their role as effectively as they can do. It's been a journey in itself, to be honest.
Where would you like to see the business in sort of longer term, say 3 years' time?
Yeah, we kind of nailed we decided at the start that we were going to specialise in education, sport and leisure, because myself and Joe, that's the sectors that we'd worked in, that's the sectors that we were passionate about. So we weren't going to be like, another training provider that will just come in and look at any type of contracts and go and do kind of hairdressing or basket weaving or anything like that. So, we really want to help people that either work in the sectors or want to work in the sectors, and really want to professionalise the work-based learning pathways. So being known nationally for that across Wales, supporting as many learners and employees we can do to access roles in the settings, making sure that we're working with awarding bodies to make sure that qualifications are up to date and purposeful. And we're developing new qualifications at the moment. So we're developing a health and wellbeing qualification for school-based staff. So that's exciting, working with awarding bodies on that, and then making sure that Welsh Government are aware of those developments and make sure that they're on the right funding stream. So just keep on doing what we're doing really, and getting our message out there to really professionalise those roles of teaching assistants, sport coaches, fitness instructors. And by doing that, each of those roles are going to have a bigger impact on all the people that they work with, so hopefully as a nation we can really lead happy and healthy lives.
It sounds like a really great vision, Matt. The value-based side of the business clearly comes through in everything you said. That's really nice to hear. Finally, is there anything else that you'd like to share about the business? Any events that are coming up where people can find you?
What I would say is anybody that's interested to find out what we do and how we do it, then do have a look at our website. Do come and follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and our website is achievemoretraining.com. So come and have a look at what we do, book a call with one of our staff, and we'll be able to give you the support and guidance about how you might get involved as a learner or as an employer in terms of the support packages we provide. And we're involved in quite a few things. We've just agreed a 3-year partnership with Wrexham Football Club where we'll be delivering the Wrexham Football Club PE apprenticeship into schools. So I'm dead excited about the impact that can have over the next 3 years with how global Wrexham Football Club have become. We're supporting Tennis Wales and the Lexus Wrexham Open in October in terms of a tennis event in North Wales, which is after Wimbledon, is probably going to be the biggest event of its kind in the UK, which is great to see coming to North Wales as well. But yeah, there's probably more things happening that I can remember at the moment. So have a look at our socials, come to our website and get involved if you can do.
Brilliant. It sounds like you're really, really busy, Matt, and that's a great way to be. So thanks ever so much for coming on and for sharing your business insights. It's been great to hear all about it, and I wish you every success for the future.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm glad we finally managed to catch up as well.
Me too. Thanks very much. Goodbye.